are Glasgow's Distillery, Glasgow's definitive distillery, founded in 2012 to bring metropolitan single malt Scotch whisky making back to the city. Our award-winning portfolio of spirits are proudly Glasgow-made, and a little bit of our home place lies at the heart of each of them. Great drinks from a great city with great stories. We are committed to quality, with next-level attention to detail on our process and ingredients. And we make no compromises, even if it takes longer. We're authentic, open about what we do. We're hands-on. At every stage of our process, a human leaves their mark. Contemporary urban distillation, rooted in the best traditions of whisky making and Glaswegian industry. We're a tight-knit team, handcrafting a family of story-led and character-rich brands, pouring our heart and soul into every spirit. Working collaboratively, working democratically, each and every one of us contributes to the final product, sharing stories, inspiring stories, making history. We are Glasgow's Distillery, telling stories with spirit.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hope you're all sitting relaxed, ready for our tasting with the Glasgow Distillery Company. 8 cracking drams coming up. Just to keep you in the loop, the Loch Lomond Distillery trip was fully booked within 2 or 3 days, so that's good. We're just waiting on a few people coming back, telling us what the food is. We've got our Glencadam Tom and Tool tasting in October. We have our rum tasting coming up, so if you like your rums or your friends like your rums, let them know. It's the 24th of October and it's at the Railway Club, so there'll be 6 rums to try and a chance to win, I think, a 1.75 litre bottle of rum on the night. This rum's not for purchasing, it's just for PR, for prizes and things like that. Then we've obviously got our Whisky Festival coming up. And next year, just as a wee heads up, changing the subject quite slightly, we're having planning on doing a wine festival as well. So if you like your wines or your friends like your wines, watch this space because there's a wine festival coming up at the Ferndale Hotel. So tonight we have Libby as our guest speaker. She came down a couple of weeks ago to do a barrel top tasting, which was quite successful. She's live tonight, obviously, and she's coming down to Dumfries next Friday as well. So she's becoming a bit of a local, actually. So good evening, Libby.
Hello.
Hello again.
Yeah, definitely becoming a local, I think.
Yeah. So what's the weather like at the moment?
We got some that.
What's your weather like at the moment?
I've got a little fan underneath the table. It's red hot.
Right. Not too bad here, but it's been hot, certainly hot through the day. So
I tell you, I was down in Bristol Wednesday to Thursday, and I parked the car at the train station, and I came back on Thursday night, and I opened my car, and it stank of almost like diesel. And I was like, hang on, my car's a petrol car, so why does it stink of diesel? There was a bottle of whiskey in the boot. I'd done a tasting for Oranmore Whisky Club, and I got a bottle of Dranmore Tullabaden 8-year-old, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there was like that much left in the bottle. It just popped and it was all over my car. So it was really, really hot, obviously.
I hope he didn't get stopped by the police.
I gave it a quick hose down at the distillery today. So hopefully it's fine. But yeah, that was a new one for me.
Good. I meant to ask earlier on when we were speaking, do you do tours?
So we've actually just started doing tours.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, at the distillery. I mean, whiskey clubs we've done tours for in the past anyways, but public tours have been a thing that we've wanted to kind of set up for a while. It's been something that we've been working towards from like a health and safety point of view. For those that don't know, we're based in Hillington, just off the M8, about 10 minutes away from the airport. So we're not exactly very central. There's no rolling hills in the background or anything like that. We're just on an industrial estate. You've got Arnold Clark to your right. Straight ahead, you've got Burger King. You could pick up some kitchen tiles if you really wanted to at the same time. So it's not really a place that's kind of been set up for distillery tours. The first, mission was to start producing whiskey rather than having a visitor centre. I don't think we'll ever have a visitor centre, but what we have done is we've just kind of, dealt with what we've got. And I did a tour today, maximum 8 people. You come and visit the tour for about 2 hours, that sort of thing. Tickets are available on our website, but more than happy to take you guys around for a wee tour. We can sort that out, absolutely. I did see that you were going to Loch Lomond. That'll be fun.
Well, the maximum because they're obviously closed. They're closed to the public. And their health and safety is a maximum of 27 people. In a group, 3 groups of 9, and that's basically it. So maybe something we could look at next year.
Definitely. That'd be awesome.
Come with a bus, with a couple of buses, and maybe bring 150 people or so, and
I maybe squeeze them all in.
8 at night, that'd be great. That's probably something we can think about.
Definitely, absolutely.
Later on next year, it's only an hour and a half up the road.
Yeah, for sure. You could maybe jump on the train, actually. Do you know?
I'd lose a few of them in the train. I can't control them on a train. I control everybody in a bus. Anyway, we'll crack on with the whiskey. So I'll let you get on with the first whiskey, and then I'll
absolutely.
Okay, right.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you very much. Hello everybody. Glasgow Distillery. We produce 3 different styles of single malt. We set up in 2015 with our first or distillation, should I say, which was our unpeated distillate. 2016 we started producing our peated distillate, and in 2017 we started producing our triple distilled distillate, which is dram number 1 if you wanted to grab your dram. So triple distilled is probably the least whiskey that we make, but always the start of a tasting, purely down to flavour profile. The triple distilled is cleaner than the rest due to its process. What you're doing with that third distillation is you're taking away some of those heavier, oilier compounds right at the beginning. So the triple distilled is just a lighter, cleaner whiskey. Right from the beginning of the process, it's reacting to the casks a little bit differently. You're getting a lot of the lighter, fruitier, cleaner spirits, flavours from the casks into the spirit. 46%, have a sip on that. And I'll kind of take you through some of the history. Not that we have very much. Just turned 10 years old this year. However, the Glasgow as a whole has quite a lot of whiskey history. You wouldn't think it. But Glasgow used to be a hub of single malt production back in the day. The first original, the Glasgow Distillery, was set up in 1770. It was the first among 3 or 4 distilleries to gain a license to produce Scotch whisky. So it was a big deal back in the day. I think it was one of the largest producers in Europe for a while. A lot of whiskey being produced there, and on the back of it, all these distilleries opened up. Why they closed down one by one, we're not entirely sure. Perhaps some of the rules weren't being followed, hence why a lot of distilleries fled to the Highlands. You know what Glaswegians are like. The original Glasgow Distillery was the last to close under the name Dundas Hill in 1902. Over 100 years passed, and there was no new independent single malt distilleries until we came along. So we grabbed the name, the Glasgow Distillery, set up the company in 2012, but started making whiskey in 2015. in that period was, finding somewhere to actually make the whiskey, getting the staff on board, and yeah, just we were eager to get bring premium Scotch whisky making back to the city of Glasgow, which I like to think 10 years in we've succeeded with. But yeah, so there was a little bit of single malt being produced in Glasgow over that 100-year period. The majority was at Strathclyde, which was grain whiskey, but there was some tiny little experiments single malt wise done within Strathclyde Distillery, which Duncan Taylor released a bottle of a couple of months ago, or a bottle, I think it was a couple of bottles, under the name Kinclaith, which was a 50-year-old Glasgow whiskey, which was really, really cool. Very happy to say that I've tried it. Pretty awesome for a 50-year-old whiskey, and an awesome piece of history. So not the first single malt in Glasgow for over 100 years, but the first independent distillery. So independent, owned by two friends, Liam and Mike. Liam is an Irishman, Mike is a Welshman. It's not a joke, that's the story. And basically the two gents have worked together many, many years in the spirits industry together, and finally decided that they wanted something of their own. And along came the Glasgow Distillery. Upon looking into the history of Glasgow and spirit production, we came across loads of different stories that we've over the years have built through our brands. Not only do we make single malt, but we also produce blended malt, which Brian also has at TB Watson. We do a gin, a vodka, and a rum as well. So yeah, triple distilled, 3 different cask types. We've got ex-bourbon first fill, refill ex-bourbon, and a tiny touch of virgin oak in there as well. The virgin oak is literally a teeny tiny touch, like a little, little bit of salt that you put on your soup or something. That's literally a tiny touch of virgin oak in the triple distilled, just to give it a little bit of spice, but a bit more body to the triple distilled. I think some triple distilled whiskies can be known as too light and too clean, but I do think that little bit of virgin oak just bring a little bit of life to the triple distilled. You're getting a lot of tropical, fruity, light notes on the palate. You get this kind of cracked black pepper, which is the virgin oak coming through for me. Yeah, great whiskey, 46%, natural colour, non-chill filtered. We do have the average age whiskey-wise to bring this up to about 7 or 8 years old if we wanted to. However, it's award-winning whiskey, and our customers enjoy it at 4 years old. So why fix it if it's not broken?
Yeah, it was lovely. I mean, you don't need any water with that. I don't know if you put any.
Yeah.
No.
The triple distilled, as I say, it's not really like our core bottling, but
No.
It is in the signature range, but we always pour it first, as it's the breakfast whiskey, if you like to call it.
It's quite light and fruity, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So how many casks do you actually have at the moment?
Yeah,
Roughly.
exact number wise, I know we fill over 1,000 in a year.
Okay.
We're distilling twice a day, 5 days a week. Litres of alcohol a year, we're doing 230,000 litres. Max capacity is 360. So there's definitely room for expansion, and hopefully we'll look at doing that hopefully next year, fingers crossed, and go into the weekend as well, and do 3 more distillations, I think, over the weekend, with a big clean down on Sunday. And yeah, that's the aim. Obviously, everyone wants to kind of be building up, but the way that things are in the world of whiskey at the moment, it's probably best to keep on as we're going, and make sure that the whiskey's good, and we're selling bottles rather than changing anything up just yet. So
yeah, I don't want to expand too quick and
exactly,
go too fast. Just be steady where you are and be comfortable with
Exactly.
doing.
Yeah.
Was
I
there
think
been any pressure on anybody?
Yeah, I think we're doing in quite well actually. We're in a good position. You know, there's, as I say, seems to be a lot of negativity in the world of whiskey at the moment, but we're in a position of, you know, hiring people. You know, we're expanding the team. We just hired an export guy, and Niall joined the team about a month ago. So yeah, it's really great. And you know, to say that there was only two of us doing all this, the sales and the marketing this time last year, we've definitely upped our game, which is good. Which I think has been needed. Glasgow Distillery's perhaps gone under the radar a wee bit for the past couple of years with a small team. You know, we don't have the folk on the ground. You know, sales is something that we've never really had a team for, you know. So we've been quite lucky that, you know, people come to us rather than us going to them for bottles. You know, people have been asking for our whiskey, so we've had retailers come to us. But I think it's getting to that time where things are starting to tick up a little bit, and you know, we see people at events and festivals and tastings, and it's no longer their first time with Glasgow 1770. You know, we're getting some people that are, yeah, coming real fans of the distillery. And as I say, we turned 10 years old this year with our double distilled unpeated. Next year we'll have a 10-year-old peated. The year after a 10-year-old triple distilled. So realistically, the next kind of 5 years for us are planned in, which is quite nice. So it's a good feeling.
Will they be age statement ones then?
Yeah, so we did release a 10-year-old whiskey in April and flew off the shelves, or flew off the website, should I say. Under 20 minutes, we sold out the 230 bottles, which was, yeah, really, really good. But obviously, you know, if it was down to me, everybody would have got a bottle, but that's not the way that whiskey works. We have just released a 10-year-old Sauterne with Raw Mal whiskies at the Whisky Fringe last weekend, which is now available on their website. So there is, you know, 10-year-olds out there that you can buy and taste. But we released Ruby Port about a month ago, which was our first like official age statement that had number 6 on the bottle. The idea is that's going to kind of continue getting older until it becomes 10, and then hopefully stay in the core range as a 10-year-old, which will obviously happen with time. But yeah, we'd love to have a 10-year-old within the core range, but time will tell, I suppose. So yeah,
it's difficult to look into the future, isn't it?
For sure.
If we all had a crystal ball, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Yeah,
if only we could. But
yeah, no, that's a cracking start. Great.
So one of the reasons why we do the triple distilled whiskies is the original distillery did the 3 styles, the triple distilled, the unpeated, and the peated. Obviously, we've got Liam, our Irish founder, in there. It makes sense to be doing a triple. But also it just gives us another feather in our hat, you know. Something that I really enjoy talking about with our whiskies is that you can take, for example, a red wine cask or any kind of sherry cask, and any distillery can, you know, release this sherry cask or that wine cask. We have this extra power that we can do that sherry cask in 3 completely different styles. So we could do, for example, an Oloroso triple distilled, Oloroso unpeated, Oloroso peated. So it's not just 3 different whiskies, it's 3 completely different flavour profiles of whiskey. It's a very cheesy saying, but there truly is a whiskey for everyone at the Glasgow Distillery. Our triple distilled to our peated is chalk and cheese, and with the different casks that we use, which you'll know, you've got quite a few bottles on the shelf of ours.
See them all lined up. They're all lined up like wee soldiers.
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of different casks that we're using that aren't just your classic sherry casks. You know, the most recent ones were the wine casks, the Constantia, Syrah, Greek Syrah, and a Pinot de Charente. You know, if we do those 3 again, but with a different distillate, they're completely different whiskies. So Yeah, we'll get onto it later. The cognac lightly peated, I think that's the whiskey that kind of just showcases really what we can do at the distillery. And the triple distilled seems to be quite a favourite. It's because it brings out the much lighter, cleaner flavours from these casks. We did a Bordeaux red wine cask with our triple distilled, and it was so peachy and light and fruity, and it was just quite different from normal Bordeaux red wine casks that you've had, before. So it really brings a different element to the whiskies. So yeah, it's a great whiskey to have in our back pocket,
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So, should we go to jam number
2? Yes, of course.
So jam number 2. Would normally be the first whiskey that we'd pour, as it's kind of the heart of the distillery, is the original. But as I say, we do things flavour profile wise at the distillery. So we'll quite often kind of fly from 46% up to like 59% or something like that in tastings, purely just because of the different styles of distillate. So it makes sense that we're starting with the triple distilled. It is the lighter, cleaner style of whiskey, moving on to the original, which is the single malt that brought single malt production back to Glasgow. So this was the whiskey that turned 10 years old, or I should say the distillate that turned 10 years old back in March. And yeah, it really is the essence of who we are and what we do at Glasgow Distillery. So if you've never had our whiskey before, this is the one that we pour you. Double distilled, unpeated, starts off in ex-bourbon, and then we're finishing off in virgin oak for about 6 months. So what you're getting from the bourbon is your classic vanilla, caramel, honey, those sorts of sweet flavors, and the virgin oak just brings this extra layer of spice, almost like a tingle to the tongue. Some of you may have heard of STR wine casks. We're kind of using virgin oak in a very similar way. A lot of the new wave distilleries use these STR casks to bring flavour and colour quite quickly to whiskies. We're using virgin oak instead of. So 6 month finish in the virgin oak just brings this extra layer, nice little colour to the glass, and just a little bit of spice. I like to kind of call this the whiskey drinker's whiskey. You've got some sweetness there, but not too much. Some spice, but not too much. It's nice and warming, but not too hot. It's a Wednesday night and you fancy a dram. The original ticks all the boxes. I get a lot of kind of almondy marzipan notes on the original. For the triple distilled, it's very kind of green fruits, tropical fruits, whereas the original is almost just the big brother to the triple distilled. It just has a little bit more. Those green fruits have turned into red fruits. It's a bit more robust on the palate. Obviously, those heavier, oilier compounds that we take away from the triple distilled are still in there in the original. So you are still, getting just a waxier, oilier mouthfeel. It's just a bit thicker, basically.
There's a bit more of the mouthfeel. It's a bit more body to it, and you can feel it.
Which makes total sense,
Yeah. It does what it says on the tin.
Exactly. But you kind of see what I mean. Like, it's not to kind of underestimate it, but it's just such a classic whiskey. It's ticks all the boxes for the whiskey drinker's whiskey. If triple distilled was breakfast, this would be lunch. I tend to kind of describe it as my Wednesday night dram. You're midweek and you just fancy something to just have a think about and have a taste, and I think it just does the job really well.
And the average age of this one, is it about 7
about
as well?
4 years old, so it's still quite young. From the finish, it'll be about 4.5. Between 4 and 5 years old, basically. So still quite young. As I say, we could bring it up, but there's no rush to just yet, as I say, just because it works where it is very well, I think. This is your more perhaps kind of classic lowlandy style, do you know? Same with the triple distilled, quite light and delicate and very fruity. When we get onto the peated stuff, you know, that's where we kind of step away from the lowland style. We don't really kind of class ourselves as a lowland distillery from a flavour profile point of view, which you'll see when we get to the peated stuff. But yeah, lowland distilling, just not as you know it.
Yeah. I like how you do your labels because they're very distinctive, given that it's smooth and vibrant. I mean, people who are looking at it, they don't have to. I mean, they do. They don't have to look at a bottle and go, "I wonder what that tastes like." And you look at the back, and they get a 100-word paragraph in the back, and they think, "Oh, what it do is, what does it taste like?"
Yeah,
right at the front there, exactly.
I think the colours as well. You know, we get a lot of people saying, "I love your green one," which is what we said. You know,
that's the peated one.
Great, exactly. So yeah, it's quite helpful for sure. When we get onto the small batch stuff as well, the idea is that at the distillery we are whiskey geeks making whiskey for whiskey geeks, and I'm the first to put my hand up at a tasting and ask all the awkward questions. And what we kind of like to think we do is answer all those questions on the bottle so that you don't need to ask. You know? Within the small batch stuff, you've got cask numbers, you've got the date it was filled, you've got the age. What we actually do on the carton box is we kind of put like the coding, which is the coding that we pull from our system that we, you know, track all of our casks. So the idea is there's nothing to hide, so everything's on the bottle
very
or
transparent,
packaging, you know, very transparent. Yeah, we kind of like to hold ourselves to 3 pillars: transparency, accessibility, and authenticity. I think the accessibility is also, as you say, in that you can read the bottle and you know what you're getting. Saw someone comment a great price as well. So the original used to be £49. We actually dropped it to 45 back in last April. I can't believe that. That's last April. But yeah, the world of whiskey where things were going up and we were in a great position. We had some investment into the business, and rather than spending that on ourselves, you know, painting the walls, making a visitor centre, what we did instead was put it back into our customers and was able to drop the price of the original. So it's a really good thing. And yeah, I think resonated really well with our customers as well.
No, that's good. Certainly a bit more punch to it than the triple distilled.
Yeah, just more, isn't it?
I do like the triple distilled whiskey.
Me too. I think it's a great summer whiskey. Is the triple. As I say, it's just, you don't have to think about it. You can just sip it and enjoy it. And as I say, is the triple distilled spirit. It reacts so well to all the different styles of cask that it's great to have. Yeah,
because there's not that many distilleries doing triple distilled.
Yeah, no,
in Scotland really. Anyway, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got Auchentoshan, obviously Springbank do their Hazelburn, which is it's like 2.5 or something that they call it.
I think Hazelburn's 3. That's Springbank. I think it's 2.5. I think
right.
Hazelburn's 3. But yeah. I mean, as far as Scotch whiskey is concerned, not that many people do the
much more predominantly in Irish whiskey. You're right.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's nice though, but this has got straight away a bit more mouthfeel to it. As you say, we're moving from brunch to lunch. Can't wait to dinner. I don't know if I'll be able to cope for supper, but anyway, we'll see what happens.
A couple more jams till we get there. But yeah, so they're very similar in cask makeup. The triple distilled and the original. So the only difference is that rather than marrying those casks for the triple distilled with the original, it's a finish and the original, which works really well. Something that we've done in the past year or so, we expanded the distillery. So the people next door to us, the cash and carry, they moved out and we took the space. So you used to have to go through because the site that we're on is Russell's. Russell's is one of the largest bonded sites in Europe. Goes a mile or two back. Quite a lot of Scotch whisky being matured there, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, you used to have to go through the security gate to get to the distillery, whereas now we have public access, hence why we can do tours and things like that, and a lovely big warehouse that is kind of half dry storage, half cask warehouse. We've got our Shug, our cooper. He's in the cooperage, just kind of in the warehouse as well. We'll get onto him in a wee minute. And yeah, we've kind of shoved everything that we can into this warehouse, with the idea of it kind of being a finishing warehouse. So at the moment, there's a lot of time and what's the word, manpower to ask for your samples. They come back, heaven knows how long they'll take, or should I say for the casks, so that we can re-rack them. And yeah, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money as well. So the idea is that these ex-bourbons will come to us, and we'll put them, the liquid, into the virgin oaks, and they'll just sit on site for the 6 months rather than sending them away, which will hopefully be a lot more efficient. And also with all the small batch stuff that we do, all the experimental casks, quite nice to have them next door to us as well, so that we can be a little bit more involved with them, which is grand.
So very hands-on. Yep.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So next dram is the cognac. No, it's not. It's the original cask strength. Basically the exact same whiskey that you've just had. The only difference is that this is a cask strength. So slightly different label, slightly different percentage, 59.2. That came up at the right second, because I always forget. 59 point something. I always know it's somewhere there. 59.2, which is slightly lower than our first batch. So this is batch number 2 that we've done. It's normally an annual release, purely to show our whiskey in its purest form. So this is the original, starts in ex-bourbon, finished in virgin oak for 6 months. The only difference is, from what you just had, is that we've done nothing to it. It's straight from the cask, our whiskey in its purest form. You can't really get any more transparent than this. I think it really shows your distillery character coming through. The virgin oak is definitely there, but I do think that the original, notes that you get from the 46% really do resonate with this whiskey as well. When I first tried this, something that really stood out to me was a very particular tasting note, very sweet, with a bit of kind of a metallic note to it as well. Imagine you're cooking, I don't know, perhaps a flapjack or something, I should say baking, and you've put your teaspoon into golden syrup, and you lick the teaspoon, and you get that kind of sweetness from the golden syrup with that little metallic note of the spoon. Smack on for me. Absolutely love this whiskey. The original is normally my favourite in the core range anyway, not that you're meant to have favourites. But the original cask strength is just, it's an incredible whiskey, a big favourite within the team, alongside the peated cask strength, which we'll get to as well. Quite different from the original, but there is definitely elements in there that are the same. So with batch 3, as I say, normally this is an annual release. But what we're thinking with batch 3 is going on to the start of next year, releasing that, just so that we're not putting out too many whiskies in one go. We've done small batch this year. We've done 2 different 10-year-olds. We've done a ruby port, just trying to spread things out a little bit. And so hopefully have another batch of the cask strength next year. Also, you don't want to rush it as well. If they're not ready, they're not ready. So yeah.
Well, how many bottles do you do when it's like the likes of this one, when batch 2?
Yeah. So it tends to only be a couple of casks. So I think this was 750 bottles.
So it's not you're not flooding the market with it. Really.
Yeah, no, it's the peated I believe was 1,000, but it goes really, really quickly and does the peated stuff. People snap it up. So yeah, the original cask strength definitely hangs around for a bit longer, but it's quite nice to have it as well. You know, when all these small batches that you do, there's people that love a particular you know, release that we've done, and all of a sudden it's gone. It's like, oh well, I'm sorry that you really liked it, but you can't have it anymore. So it's quite nice when something hangs around for a wee bit longer, like the original. So just kind of looking at the casks that we use, as I say, we're using quite a lot of virgin oak. So we're using virgin oak in the triple distilled, in the original, and also in our peated. So it's kind of yeah, it's within our core range all the way through the triple, the original, and the peated. We're using virgin oak from a cooperage called Kelvin Cooperage, who are a Glaswegian company. They set up in the 60s. The two brothers took the company from Glasgow over to Kentucky, where the wine and the bourbon industry was booming. When it came to the Glasgow distillery, looking for virgin oak for our whiskey, our Glaswegian whiskey, it made absolute sense that we were using a Glaswegian company. So the idea is that Glaswegian hands are making the casks over in Kentucky. They come
shipping them over
Glasgow, and then Glaswegian hands are filling the casks back here in Glasgow, which is a really nice connection between spirit and wood. You know, the States and ourselves. You know, Scottish whiskey wouldn't be what it is without American oak, and their ex-bourbon casks, I suppose. You know, it's good connection. A story that the Americans love. But yeah. So as I say, we have our on-site Cooper, Shug. He's a bit of everything, is Shug. He's not just the Cooper, he does everything. He's a performing monkey when you ask him. He absolutely loves showing off his skills and things like that.
Well, it's a skill itself, isn't it? Really, when you see them in action, I'd show off as well.
The stories that he has as well are incredible. Not only has he got, I think it's 43 years now. I said 40 years the other day and he corrected me. So I think it's 43 years now he's been a Cooper. I could be wrong. It might be longer. But he stepped away from coopering when all the machines came into play. The only machines that he has are his two arms, he says. So there's no such thing as, you know, a machine driving hoop or anything like that. He's very hands-on. Yeah. It's like everything we do at Glasgow Distillery. Nothing's connected. You know, normally you're at a distillery with, you know, you're on your mezzanine and there's all the pipes underneath. That's the rest at Glasgow. It's literally a fact of you have to unscrew one thing to screw it onto the next. Very manual. Hence why I'm up in the office and not on the distillery floor. But the idea is that a human leaves their mark at every step of the process for our whiskey. Coopering and the casks included. So what I did is I asked Chuck to do a little show and tell for us. So hopefully this video works. I'll bring it up.
Right, okay.
And hopefully you can understand his very Glaswegian accent.
I'll find out.
Absolutely. I think this should be able to come on. Unless... I'm not sure if I've got...
I'm saying let her try.
Yeah, you try.
End of a cask or the top of the cask is held together with wooden dowels or else tongue and grooved. But the cask itself is held together with pressure. So this is called rising a cask. This is a 54-gallon hogshead. So you bring it out, start here, and it's all pressure. So you first want to hold your hoop, then you hold the next one with your left knee, as I'm right-handed, then you just keep filling them in, placing them together, keeping pressure on with your knee, and it will hold the cask up. A lot of people think casks are held together with dowels or tongue and grooved, but they're held together with the pressure of the hoops, which holds them. And rising them, you just keep the pressure on your knee and it'll keep the cask steady. You might see that I've numbered the staves. This is just to put them back to the original joints, which will give you a better seal. Say, always keeping pressure with your knee. Keep the cask steady. So just keep your knee out. I'm holding the pressure now with my 2 fingers. Let's put this stave in. You'll notice the staves usually should go broad, narrow. It gives you a better shape. If you have too many narrows, it will go what you call high. Too many broad staves together, it will go flat. So we get it that, so it will still hold fine. We get this other truss hoop. Put it on. Just chop it out. Give it a wee shake, just look to see if it's straight. That looks straight to me. Get your hammer, and chop up. Find the lowest stave.
So easy.
No, it's very noisy.
Most difficult thing ever. I'm positive.
And that's it, levelled off. So as you see, you can come in, look, it's levelled. So the groove here, which is called a crow's, will accommodate the end. This being the end here, that will fit into the crow's. So you need to get, this is called a bowl chute. Take your rising hoop off. This is called a quarter hoop. So you get your end, place it there. Just knock it into the close. So nowadays they use molten wax to put round the end here. We don't have that, so traditionally you'd use this, which is called a flag. It's a bulrush, and you put that in between the crows and the end. Like so, and you do it right round, and you put your end hoop on. And the cask starts becoming solid again. Then I would flip it over and do it the other side. That's how you rise a cask.
Ta-da! Just
Easy
like that.
peasy, lemon squeezy. I've been to the Speyside cooperage a few times, and when you go up in the balcony, you look over and you look at these guys, and they're all in peacetime. And because every cask is money. They don't hang about for a conversation, whatever. They don't speak to each other. They don't even look at each other. They're just hell bent on making the casks. And then when you're watching them, the guy goes, "Would you like to try and do a cask?" And build it together, just like Shug did. Yeah, and you get this mini cask. Well, you look as though you've got 3 left hands and 2 right hands.
Yeah.
It just...
He makes it look so easy as
doesn't he?
well.
Oh, just use your left knee. Aye, so you do. That's what your left knee's for. It's not for the clutch.
Do you know, he had an operation at the start of this year for his shoulder.
All right.
And it's not
Okay.
even his hammer shoulder. It's his shoulder for moving casks around. So when he's like, you know, rather than rolling a cask, he has it on its end and kind of, you know, rolls it to the top. You've seen him do it, and that's what's knackered his shoulder. Never mind this heavy hammering. Yeah, you know, he was, even then, he was not even a month off work. Straight back to it, itching to get back. So yeah, it's an awesome thing. It's great to have him at the distillery. And again, rather than spending money on making the place look nice, we'd rather spend it on having Shug as a wee extra as well, you know.
You have to come up with a name for that, because you have like monkey shoulder when they're doing it with the barley. You have housemaid's knee. You have tennis elbow. Are we going to call it Shug Shooter?
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Aye, you didn't want to get Shug Shooter, right? You've got to watch what you're doing with the casks. Use the forklift, mate. Use the forklift.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
That's very that was very educational. That's I don't know how many people have actually seen that in operation.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I thought I was going to have to, you know, twist his arm to do it as well, because he was quite busy that week, and I was like, "Do you mind if I just?" He loves showing it off. So
no wonder, what a skill!
That's part of the tour that we do. So Shug's part of the tour that we've put on. Is the main part of the tour, really. You know, everyone always says that the best bit is the Cooper Inn. So
yeah, no wonder.
And not that his ego needs to be any bigger, but that's a great wee part of the tour. And as I say, we wouldn't be without him. So cool. What do we think of the first 3 drams? Who were those? Yeah. I'm
saying the cask strength's quite nice on its own, and Sarah was saying a wee drop of water. That's what a wee drop of water in mine. It did open it up slightly, but
yeah, good.
It's still very palatable, even just with not burny or giving you this it's a reflux. It's good.
Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I do think some of our higher strength whiskies are really quite drinkable. You know, they don't come across as what they are, especially the peated cask strength at the end, 60.7, I think it is, and it just doesn't taste like that at all. Danger juice, as they call it, or as I call it, should I say? But yeah, so should we head on to dram number 4?
Yeah.
Constantia wine cask, which was one of the 3 new small batch we released back in May, I think it was. And Constantia, even though no one's heard of it, was supposedly a really famous wine back in the day. So famous that Napoleon, on his deathbed, was given all the food and drink that you can imagine. But the only thing he wanted was a glass of Constantia. Jane Austen, in Sense and Sensibility, states that a glass of Constantia is the remedy to a broken heart. So any broken hearts in the room, anyone on their deathbed, have a glass of Constantia and it solves all. But yeah, so Constantia is basically a sweet dessert wine from South Africa. What we've done here is we have ex-bourbon casks that we've finished in the Constantia. This bottling is 3 casks that have been combined together. We're in the Constantia for 1 year and 10 months finish. The 3 that we brought out were all the same, 1 year, 10-month finish, all 5-year-old age statements. Well, I say age statements. This is normally where I'd show you the little bottle. If you kind of look really, really, really closely on the label, if you ever have it in your hand, the number 5 is really, really small. What we used to do on the small batch series is that we would tell you the date it was distilled and that it was bottled so that you could figure out the age. it got to a point with our cognac lightly peated that these whiskies were 5-6 years old. Let's just stick a number on it. Again, from a transparency point of view, you don't need to ask how old this whiskey is because it's on the bottle. It's background information. The main information that we want you to know is that it's unpeated and that it's a Constantia wine cask. But if you look closely enough, you'll see the cask numbers on there. You'll see that it says 1 year, 10-month finish, 5 years old, how many bottles there are in the outturn. Anything you could want is on there. Not quite cask strength. We have added a little bit of water to 56.6%, which for me is perfect. Absolutely love this whiskey. I'm going to say this a few times tonight, but perhaps going on to the cognac later is probably one of my favourites. But out of the 3 new ones we've done, I really, really like this Constantia whiskey. I've kind of come out of my peatier the better and into my sweeter the better, and I think this Constantia does it quite well, but without being too sweet. It perhaps even tops the Tokai that we've used in the past. I love the Tokai casks as well, but this Constantia is great. Quite thick, quite juicy. You get this kind of grapefruit kind of vibe going on. The region where the Constantia comes from is more predominantly known for Sauvignon Blanc. So it's that similar kind of sweet, acidic wine, which, I think you definitely kind of get some of the notes coming through here as well. Someone at the Whisky Fringe at the weekend mentioned Aperol, like Aperol Spritz. And I kind of get that kind of dry, sweet fruitiness. Great whiskey. Can see in the comments someone's asking if this is double or triple distilled. This is our double distilled unpeated distillate. So on the bottles, we'll either say triple distilled, unpeated, or peated. Unpeated and peated are always double distilled. And then the triple distilled is always unpeated. We've never done a triple distilled peated. We might. I'm not entirely sure. This is our unpeated distillate. Double distilled. I think very different from other things you've seen on the market. We tried to find a different whiskey that had used Constantia, which we struggled to. We found a independent bottler. I'm not entirely sure who it was. I think they used a Loch Lomond whiskey and finished it in a Constantia cask. Where when earth we came across these casks, I've no idea. What we tend to do is, because we're quite a small distillery, or smaller than some, rather than getting a lorry full of sherry casks, we split that lorry into sherry, wine, weird and wonderful things like Constantia, tequila casks, Calvados casks. The list of things we've got is endless. So it's purely just a fact of what looks cool. Let's stick our whiskey in that, which can be quite risky, but so far, touch wood, nothing's gone wrong. When it comes to the whiskey team bringing these whiskies together, the whiskey team is made up of my boss Seb, who's the global marketing manager, who some of you might have seen at the Dram Busters festivals. We've got our head distiller Alex, and we have one of our founders Mike, that are kind of the three blending, the 3 people that make up the blending team. If it was down to Alex, everything would be cask strength. It's not down to Alex, it's down to Mike, normally by the end. And some things we've done cask strength, but the majority have had a little bit of water added, which, it's just getting it to where we think it sits best. What tends to happen is they'll walk into the tasting room, try all these tasters and stumble out. Once they've gone through all these tasters and kind of sift out stuff that's not quite ready, is, still got a couple of years to go or 6 months or whatever, planning for the next year of small batch series. Anything that's nearly there or ready to be released will go into the lab. Alex will send out a wee email to us all and ask us all to bring our tasting notes together. So rather than just one person telling you what's on the bottle. There's a team of about 6 or 7 of us that bring these tasting notes together, which is really nice. We'll just kind of go through them and highlight any of the common ones that come up. And yeah, I think grapefruit was definitely a big one. Pink grapefruit for this one. Manuka honey as well, that kind of floral honey. I really get it on the texture and that like the thickness. Yeah, it's a great whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of distilleries do sweet wine casks, basically sauternes.
Yeah.
Being the most common one, or Barsac, or various other ones. But the wine itself, Constantia, dessert wines, quite popular in the fact that it's, I think they do it in 50 centilitre bottles, and it's about 70 quid.
Yeah, expensive.
It is expensive, yeah. It's not just a dessert wine, it's a top dessert wine.
Yeah.
It's there in the top notch for sweet wines. So to get a cask or 1 or 2 casks of that, I mean, it's quite a find to do that. It's quite rare because I don't think many other distilleries will do that. They might get dessert wines from maybe southern France, not just from Bordeaux. So in terms of Barsac, you might get them from other areas, but you go outside Europe and get maybe Tokay, but outside Europe and get something like this is quite unusual.
Absolutely. One of the first things we did when we started trying them after they'd been, our whiskey had been in them for a year or so, is buy some more because they were really great. Yeah, we've really enjoyed them. As I said, I think it's definitely in my top 3 of the favourites we've done, small batch wise. I think this would work really, really well with our triple distilled distillate as well. Would be awesome. Yeah, so...
So would you use that cask again? Would you give it a...
Yeah, I think we do refill them, yeah.
If you're really sitting them there for a few months, just...
yeah.
Aye.
So, yeah, I mean, this was a 1 year, 10 month finish. Normally our finishes are a bit longer, but I think we're still reusing them. So, yeah, get plenty of life out of them, which is fine.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good reviews on it, though.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it can be quite sweet initially, but I don't think it kind of overpowers it. You do get other things other than just sweetness. Great summer whiskey. I think this time of year, Constantia is working well.
And batch 1 as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
very encouraging.
Hopefully there'll be more to come, definitely. I think it's done well. So I think the thing is with all these weird and wonderful ones that we're bringing out that are limited batches, when our customers tell us that they like it, they're basically our guinea pigs at this point, and what works and what doesn't is down to them. And if you really, really like it, tell us and we'll hopefully bring it back, which is kind of what we did with the Ruby Pot. We released a limited edition Ruby Port years ago that was back in the 50 CLs, Ruby Port unpeated, and it went mental. Everyone's loved it ever since, been desperate for an unpeated Ruby Port, and you asked and we listened, so it does come eventually. So yeah, I think Constantia is definitely one that's...
John's hit it on the head, saying dessert in a glass.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine that with a peach melba or a creme brulee or just something there.
That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute. I'll just go and make one. Yeah, lovely jubbly, someone would say in the daily.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's definitely been a really good whiskey. And again, 3 casks of this, so I think there was about 900 bottles, which means it's not gone as quickly as perhaps others have in the past. So it's quite nice that we've got it to pour and take it to shows and things like that. So yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Yep.
Cool. kind of taken us on to from summer to autumn. The Syrah wine cask is the next dram, which was the second in this wine series that we did. So just to kind of go over them, we did a Constantia, a Syrah, a Greek Syrah, and a Pinot de Charente. The Pinot de Charente went very quickly. The Greek Syrah was 2 casks, very different. Normally we are doing sweet wines, but this Greek Shiraz basically is quite a different wine style from what we've used in the past. Berries, and more berries as the Syrah. You're getting, I forget what's on the bottle, blackberry, strawberry, or is it raspberry, strawberry jam, black cherry, pink peppercorn. I think that's what's on the bottle. So basically more berries than you can shake a stick at. 59.3, a little bit higher than the Constantia, which doesn't come across, again, very, very delicate whiskey. As I say, it's a bit more robust than the Constantia. The Constantia is like quite sweet and quite light. And definitely quite summery, whereas this is your more kind of, maybe going into the colder nights. For me personally, still very much enjoyable with the sunshine out. And I do think from a customer point of view has perhaps been more of the favourite over the Constantia. So we'll see what you guys think. But incredible colour. Again, this is double distilled, unpeated. Started out in ex-bourbon, finished in the Greek Syrah for 1 year, 10 months. 5 years old, batch number 1. Hopefully you enjoy this one.
Yeah, when we make up the kits, they're all lined up. Obviously, numbers 1 to 8, all lined up in their colours. They're there. And we had somebody come in to service our CTV cameras. And he's walking past back store and he saw the table with all the bottles and he went, "Oh, I thought I could smell whiskey. I thought maybe smashed the bottle." And he went, "Oh, are they all whiskey?" I went, "Yeah, aye. In the one distillery?" "Aye. So why are they different in colour?" So there you go. There. And I said, "Well, that's one of the reasons why we do whiskey tastings, because whiskey is not whiskey is whiskey is whiskey." So it's all to do with the casks. I didn't know that.
I mean, not if I doubt anybody has any triple distilled left, but if you went back to the triple distilled compared to this, a teeny wee bit, very, very different. And that's what I really enjoy about. I mean, obviously, all distilleries have different whiskies and different casks, but I just think they're so different from our triple distilled, our unpeated and our peated. That is really cool to talk about and to show people the diversity that we have underneath this tin roof in Hillington, just off the M8. No smoke, no mirrors, no bells, no whistles. What you see is what you get at Glasgow Distillery. We didn't have such thing as Jim Swan or anything like that. There was no whiskey guru helping us along. This was just Heriot Watt graduates that could make whiskey, and our stills, they're not Forsyth. They're from a German equivalent called Karl. They're a family-run business. Small stills, lots of copper contacts. We're using Glasgow's tap water, which is Loch Katrine council juice, as they call it in Glasgow. It's very basic stuff. Distiller's yeast, we're using Pinnacle yeast, minimum 72 hours fermentation. It's very basic stuff, but it's making great whiskey. The 3 recipes for the triple distilled, the unpeated and the peated are quite different. Our cut points are different, so it's not like it's one fits all. Obviously the triple distilled much higher, getting those lighter, fruitier flavors. The peated, much richer, waxier flavors. the originals, the unpeated distillate and the heart isn't quite in the middle. It is more towards that kind of more robust notes. So you are getting that kind of more waxier palette that's coming through. But yeah, they're it's nice to have such diversity underneath the one roof.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dunking for toffee apples with this one. I quite like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Have a wee nose and see, aye.
You know, people talk about adding water to these whiskies, and I'm bad for not knowing what it tastes like with water because I just like them as they are, you know.
It's a sipping whiskey. I mean, I don't think I might put water in it with a drop or two.
To see what it's like,
Yes, just to see what it's like at the end. I mean, I like the colour of it as well.
And that's only 1 year, 10 months, you know, it's a short finish. I mean, our finishes are quite long anyway. You know, when you say a finish, normally that's 6 months, isn't it? But we call our finishes anywhere from 1 year, 10 months up to 3 years, you know. But so this was, from our point of view, this is quite a short finish, but you're still getting lots of flavour, lots of colour, obviously very active casks. Which is great. So,
no, and again, it's batch one.
Batch one.
Yeah, super.
Very smooth. I agree. For, as I say, 59.3%, 5-year-old whiskey.
I mean, that's over 100 proof in old money.
Yeah,
because 60%'s 105 proof, so it must be 103. Geez, bells. Could run your car in that.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
But it doesn't taste as like 100 proof.
As I say, it's dangerous.
That's it. Aye. I was just going to say, it's quite dangerous, this. It's subtle. Comes up and then you go, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
I feel like, you know, we can summarize everything we do by being Glaswegians, you know. You know, to this is water to the Glaswegians.
Yeah. Then you tell me it's a breakfast dram. No. Is that the Sunday morning dram before you have your cooked breakfast with the black pudding, the haggis, started scone and everything?
Do you know, so the
hangover breakfast.
Yeah. Talking about hangovers, the tasting I was at on Wednesday, we did a original and Iron Brew whiskey sour. So the whiskey sour the Iron Brew had been like reduced, and they'd basically just made a normal whiskey sour, but they somehow incorporated this Iron Brew into it, which was almost like, you know, preparing yourself for the hangover right at the start of the tasting. But it was incredible. It was really, really cool to, you know, to taste it, and they worked together so well, which was awesome. And so hopefully we'll do that again. But yeah, you can see the question there: what ABV do we fill at? So obviously all the 3 cut points are quite different, but they all go into the casks at 63.5%, which is kind of your industry average, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, all into the cast at 63.5. What we do is again, very hands-on. We don't have such things as our like spirit receiving tank connected to our like cask filling setup. So we're putting our hearts basically into IBCs. And the IBC goes to our little weighing scale. We weigh it.
Can you explain what an IBC is?
It's basically a big plastic box thing that's got metal on the outside.
Yeah, and how many litres? I mean, I know what it is, but there's a lot of people who haven't seen them. How many litres would you say? That's a difficult question. Would that hold a couple of casks worth? Are they going
Actually,
to Google it? Are you?
I am Googling
Are you
it.
going to talk in Google so you know the answer? If you're not Googling it?
Is ranging from 500 to 3,000 liters.
It's
So
aye.
a
Well, it's
standard
basically a storage. It's basically a
yeah,
storage container, isn't it?
yeah, standard
Yeah.
there says 100,
Yeah.
1,000 liters.
Yeah.
Intermediate bulk container, an IBC.
Yep.
So yeah, we don't have a fancy spirit safe like all the other distilleries do. We have IBCs. So the new
It was
make,
difficult talking about your balls here, but
yeah. the IBCs go onto the weighing scales. We measure how much water we need to add, and then it goes into the tank, and we'll fill in our casks from there. What Shug does is, because he's done it a million different times in his head, all the maths he needs is already in his head. So what he does is he weighs the cask empty, and then he figures out how much he needs to put in to fill it. Not entirely sure how he does that. There's some sort of weird and wonderful maths that goes on. Talking us through it today in the tour. And as he's like filling it out, he says, oh, you divide this by this and you times that by whatever. And he's already done it all. Like, he doesn't need no calculator or anything like that. It's all in his head, the amount of times he's done it, So yeah, we weigh it before, fill it until it's around a certain number. I think we were filling it till it was into like 280 kilograms or something today. And then it's the fill weight is also measured, and we're very old school in the fact that everything we do is written. So every distillation we've ever done is has a sheet that is the record of all the different cut points and blah 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 and temperatures and things like that, who was distilling that day, etc. That then goes into electronically our system, which I think the distillers hate, actually, all the paperwork that it gives them. But so everything's done by as manual as it can be, which can sometimes be
good though.
Yeah, it's good for sure.
It's hands-on. It's going back to what it was in the good old days, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Before computer, how did they make whiskey before computers? Hell, how could they do it?
Yeah. How did they make casks before machines?
I know. Jeez, where's the grabber thing that just goes douche?
Yeah, exactly.
And puts the rings around the cask, and you've got bare Shug. Can't make this and battering the hell out of it. And they've got some of the distilleries going, look, the machine, you put it in there and it goes douche. But that machine doesn't get Shug shooter, does it?
No. I'm going to tell him that. That'll be a good thing for sure.
Excellent. No, that's really good. Very, very berries.
Yeah, very
strawberries, raspberries, blackberries.
Looks like that one's gone down as well.
Yep. And I love the colour as well.
So, next dram.
Yep.
So, moving on to cognac lightly peated, which, as I kind of said earlier, is probably one of my favourites that we've ever done. So, briefly mentioned earlier that I'm kind of stepping away from my big peaty drams and kind of going into my big sweet drams, sherry bombs, for example. And I think the cognac's a nice kind of balance between the two. So in here we have 5 casks. 3 of those are using our unpeated distillate and 2 are peated. So we've called it lightly peated. 58%. Again, added a little bit of water to this. It's not quite cask strength. 5 casks in total. I think there's about 2,000 bottles, 1,900, something like that. So again, this has been around for a little while, which is great because I love it. It's a great whiskey to kind of tell and showcase what we do with the 2 different styles of distillate. This whiskey is probably one of the most whiskeys that we've used within the small cask that we've used within our small batch series. So the first time that we used cognac was fully peated distillate. The second was fully triple distilled distillate. And this third time is, 3 unpeated, 2 peated, so we've called it lightly peated. This one cask alone, cognac, so many ways that we can use it. Next time we could do 4 peated, 1 unpeated, you know, just to kind of bring this edge off. There's the list of things is endless. And what this has done, bringing the 2 different styles together, you're getting your fruitiness from the unpeated distillate, you're getting your smokiness from the peated distillate, and the sweetness from the cognac casks. So this was 3 years and 6 months, I believe it is. 3 years, 4 months maybe, in the cognac cask. So quite a long finish again. This is a 6-year-old, little age statement on, very small on the bottle. And they've worked together so well. Quite a lot going on, really. You know, if you think of all these 5 different casks, all started in ex-bourbon and have then gone into the cognac, unpeated, peated distillate, lots of things going on. But they've married together really, really nicely. There's no arguing going on at all. Come together perfectly. With that being said, 58%, quite crisp at 58%. Hands down, my favourite whiskey we've done, with a couple of drops of water in it. So I thoroughly recommend that you add a couple of drops. What this does is it kind of softens the edges of the cognac that's coming through, but the smoke stays the same. So you're getting a more rounded, sweet palate, but the smoke's still there in the background, which is quite strange because you tend to find when you're adding water to a peated whiskey, the peat kind of comes out a bit more. So it's a really, really interesting whiskey. And yeah, I think as a pinnacle of what we can do, going back to the cognac peated that we did, it was really, really earthy, really spicy, very big, very bold dram. The triple distilled cognac that we did was the complete opposite, so delicate. Apples, ice cream, like apple pie and ice cream, really dessert, fruity notes. And this is almost a middle ground. Kind of touch on it a bit more when we get to the fully peated stuff, but the peat that we're using is Aberdeenshire peat, so it's a little bit softer than your Islay peats, which again adds into the unpeated distillate and the sweetness of the cognac. It all kind of rounds it off. So it is just a bit of a smoke in the background. Yeah, an incredible whiskey that I love, especially with a few drops of water.
Are you allowed to say what cognac house you used to get the casks from?
If we knew, we'd tell you. With the brokers that we're using,
you won't know.
They tend to, yeah. If they're allowed to say, they will. But normally, because as I say, the way that we're getting these casks, we don't tend to know really. Either way, it's obviously a good cognac, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great flavour.
And is that the natural cask strength 58?
A little bit of water added. Just a little bit. I think hopefully cognac will be one that kind of becomes part of the core range, you know. Would be nice. As I say, it's one that we've used quite a lot and seems to work. So
I like the fact that it's mainland peat and not the Islay peat.
I think it makes such a difference.
Well, it does to me because I'm not a
peaty fan. Yeah.
It's like Marmite. I like it or hate it. Well, I'm afraid I'm not the one that likes it. Everybody's different, though. Everybody's totally different.
Absolutely.
Karen's dad used to love Islay whiskey, the strong ones, and he could smell it in the morning when he went down, and the glass was still sitting there, and you go down it in the morning and whatever, and the smell was still there.
I'm glad the whiskey that exploded in the back of my car wasn't peated, actually. That would have been 10 times.
You'd be bouking all the way. The windows would be down.
I left my car boot open all day just to get some air.
I bet that. Yep.
Anyways, but yeah,
Jeez,
nice story about the peated. So not to kind of rush us on, we've got our core range peated up next. So back in the day when I first kind of started into the whiskey industry, I was definitely not a peated fan. But to be fair, my kind of introduction to peat was Elements of Isla. They're peat bottles that were looked like medicine bottles and literally just say the word peat on the front. So quite intense. But yeah, so I wasn't really into my peat to start off with, and I was visiting a shop in Loch Lomond Shaws, Stevie's Drams. Don't know if you know Stevie's Drams. Guy that's Stevie that runs it. As I walked into the shop, just kind of got chatting to him, and he poured me a sample of a whiskey, which just so happened to be Glasgow 1770 peated. He didn't tell me it was peated at the time. He just kind of gave me this wee dram. And I think if you weren't told that it was peated, you could perhaps mistake it for just being a sweet smoke. Because of the heather peat and the sweetness in this cognac, as well as our peated core range with the PX, I think the sweet and the peat kind of come together and make it more of like a barbecue smoke, rather than your kind of bonfire smoke, medicinal smell. It's very, very different. Very different. But yeah. So that was kind of the dram that got me into peated whiskey. Who knew a year later that I'd be working for Glasgow 1770. So definitely think it's a great introductory peat, but it's also smoky enough for the peated lovers as well.
Yeah, there's been nice comments coming up.
Yeah.
Kath's asking me, how's Brian liking this? Because they know I didn't like peat. Well, on this occasion, I like peat. Peat's my best palate at the minute. Well, light peat. We'll call them light peat at the minute. Yeah. I think it's the Islay peat. The Islay sort of, as you say, the smoke and bonfire.
Yeah.
Puts me off a bit. Aye, but would the cognac one work with Islay peat is the question. There you go. Would the Islay peat overpower it maybe?
Trying to think if
smokiness
there is
and
Islay cognac. That's maybe another Google search.
There you go. There's another one coming up for you.
Oh, is there?
It could be another 1770 release with Islay peat. Remember where he had the first book?
We have actually done that, yeah. We did.
Damn.
I know. Well, technically it wasn't Islay peat, it was a Islay cask. So we put our Aberdeenshire peated whiskey into an ex-Islay cask. Not supposedly meant to say which one it is, but it's one that's combined with Johnny Walker, if you want to think of whatever that may be. And it was really, really, really interesting whiskey. I absolutely loved it, actually. It was not as peaty as what you'd think it would be. It was almost like a palate cleanser, quite salty. Great whiskey. So, and it went down so well that we're hoping to do something very similar. I think it's quite a nice balance. I think maybe the sweetness of the heather does just kind of bring back the Islay peat a bit, Yeah, I'm trying to think of an Islay distillery that's done a cognac whiskey.
I don't know. I think they might just overpower the cognac, would you not think?
Yeah.
Kind of the cask at the end of it.
Apparently Kilhoman have done a cognac cask. Which, to be fair, if it was going to be anyone, I was going to say it'd probably be Kilhoman. But great. Cool. So, jam number 7. I nearly said 6. Jam number 7 is the core range peated. So, kind of spoke about it a bit there, anyways. But our core range peated, as I say, we're doing things a bit weird. We've gone from 58%. We're about to go back down to 46. So Glasgow 1770 peated. Peated is actually almost half and half of what we produce. So we split our year into the 3 different styles of distillate: the triple distilled, the unpeated, and the peated. Unpeated and peated are almost half and half, and the triple distilled is about a month or so worth of production. Peated is probably one of our biggest sellers, especially within the European market. They love the sweet peat, which this just so happens to be. So our core range peated starts in virgin oak, spends the majority of its life in virgin oak. There it is again. And obviously you're getting a lot of colour from there as well. But you can see the colour on this whiskey. We're getting some from the PX as well. It's just under a year of a finish in the PX sherry cask, Pedro Jimenez sherry. PX is kind of on your much sweeter end of the scale of your sherries. You've kind of got, as like an average, you've got Fino, PX, and Oloroso. Fino being quite dry, PX being quite sweet, Oloroso kind of being in the middle. Your PX is, it's almost so sweet you can pour it over your ice cream. They say it's delicious, lovely PX. You can only really have 1 or 2 glasses. 46%, as I say, Aberdeenshire peat. Technically classed as heavily peated. This is 50 ppm is this whiskey, which is supposedly in level with Ardbeg. So, if you're comparing it to your really smoky Islay whiskies, it is, heavily peated, but it really doesn't come across that way. The virgin oak's really, bringing some of the rich spice, the smoky, or should I say the richness. Your heather peat bringing the smokiness. That kind of sweet barbecue sauce note is your PX coming together with the peat. And as I say, one of our biggest sellers is the peated whiskey. We love doing the peat. As I say, it just has a complete different level. Again, if you were to go back to the triple distilled, it's a completely different kettle of fish. Chalk and cheese with the 2. So I'll see what you think.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be honest.
I'm glad to hear.
Lovely. Yeah. One of my desert island drinks is PX.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, well, I think it is. Karen thinks it's the devil's wine.
I do like
I drink PX. Karen drinks Manzanilla. So it's like chalk and cheese.
I prefer Oloroso casks
when
it comes to whiskey, but I don't like Oloroso as a sherry. I much prefer PX. From an actual drinking point of view, I really don't like Oloroso at all from a drinking point of view, but I really, the past 6 months, I've really seen myself swing towards Oloroso sherry casks. Don't know what it is. I think it's maybe just a bit not as sweet as the PX, maybe. From a whiskey point of view, but
everybody will be sick of hearing this, but I've ever tried PX with a really good vanilla ice cream.
I've not, no.
A really good vanilla ice cream, bit of PX over it.
Do you sell PX in the shop?
We do indeed. There's a reason for that, because I like it. We do 2 or 3 different PXs.
Nice. And because I know that Port of Leith have done one that I've tried, but I've not really tried any other PXs, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, it's but as I say again, it's like with me and Pete, it's like Marmite, you love it or hate it. Same with PX. Some people think, oh, it's just too sweet, too dark, and too cloying. You know, I think it adds a bit of dimension when it comes to whiskey.
I totally agree.
Yep. Yep.
Looks like everyone's enjoying it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
Where's the peat? It's a very good point. I don't know where the
Oh.
peat is.
No. He's
I
hiding.
I think for the peated whiskey drinkers, there's enough peat in there. You know,
Yeah.
not for everyone, obviously, but there
We
is.
call it,
something
we
there.
maybe call it peekaboo. Where are you?
I like that. I've not heard that one. You're bringing them all out tonight, Ryan.
Yeah. It's a registered trademark, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Called BS.
Oh, I like it.
But that is, I mean, they're saying right enough, where is the peat?
Yeah.
It's subtle. I mean, it's so subtle you would think, hold on a minute, really?
I say we say it all the time, and I've said it already, but sweet barbecue sauce, almost something particularly that Seb picks out, is the McDonald's barbecue sauce. It's that kind of like sweet floral note that you get. You know, it's
imagine that with a rack of ribs.
Yes, yeah.
Oofed.
I am thinking maybe next year I think we've almost maybe missed barbecue season now.
Yeah.
Not long of the summer left, but next year it would be cool to kind of do a collaboration with a butcher's or something like that.
Yeah.
And have some sort of peated barbecue ribs. That'd be awesome.
Oh, aye. Oh, definitely, yeah. Sticky barbecued smoked ribs. Oosh.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Not really much to say more on the next whiskey, the peated cask strength. Again, the exact same whiskey, just at cask strength. So jam number 8 is the peated from the core range. Starts in virgin oak, finishes in PX for about a year, sometimes a bit over, maybe sometimes a bit under, depends on the batch. Batch number 2, I believe, was about a year's finish in PX. 60.7%, and really doesn't come across that way. What I really like about this whiskey in particular is when you get it on the lips, you're getting a really kind of sweet brown sugar note, and the sweetness is really at the front of the whiskey. You're almost getting no smoke at all until you breathe in. Once the whiskey's gone down and you take a breath, that's when this almost bonfire smoke hits you. And again, not in a medicinal either way. It's definitely still this Aberdeenshire peat that you can tell the difference. But yeah, it's an aftershock sort of thing with the peated cask strength. Just like the original cask strength, just showcasing you our whiskey in its purest form. Nothing to hide behind. Incredible whiskey at a young age, about 4 years old is this whiskey, 60.7%. And again, a great price as well. It's normally £67, I believe. So yeah, really, really great stuff.
You can see the alcohol. The glass that I've got, you can see the alcohol just running through cathedral windows, as they would say, or the legs of the spirit.
Nice.
Running down. Oh, I mean, that just meets the part, so it does.
I'd only poured myself the one whiskey, but just to kind of keep myself on check. Well, I don't know if we have repeated. We would normally do these sort of tastings from the distillery. So I've got the whiskey in the background, but I think I've got enough whiskey behind me.
Well, it's getting darker now, so you can't see. So it's all right. Help yourself. Are the lights out in Glasgow now?
Very nearly. I could put the my big light on. I've been turning up the
No, it's
brightness
fine.
of my
No,
laptop
no,
to go on.
absolutely fine. I like the way that the peat has been progressively lighter to medium to, well, subtle to the end, rather than being the big bam bam, thank you, ma'am.
It's in the
I
back,
like
not in the front. Yeah.
Aye, yeah. I like the mainland.
Even in the cognac as well, I would say as well.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, very, very different whiskies.
Absolutely, yeah.
Have you got a favourite, Brian? Or
I have to say that I like the triple distill.
yeah,
The first one, easy, as I say, have that before I go to work in the morning. It's great. It's brilliant. It's light.
your
It's
porridge.
fruited. Yeah. And I like number 4, the Constantia one, the dessert line.
I think it's a great day for it. If it's been sunny with yourself, it's. I think it definitely does very well.
But it's a Swedish tooth anyway. Obviously, could like him.
PX. Yeah.
I like that one. Again, the last one, not really smacking your face.
For the percentage as well.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say that. Yeah, aye.
Do you know, people ask me why is that, and I genuinely don't know. Maybe it's the Glasgow water that we're using at the start. But yeah, it's a good sign. If this is what it's like in 4 years, where's our peated cash strength batch 12? That's,
aye.
Where's that going to be? What's that going to be like? I'm looking forward to next year, the 10-year-old peated. I don't think we started peated until later in the year, so it'll probably be like autumn time that a 10-year-old peated comes out. But yeah, no, we're already getting excited for it, so it'd be great for sure.
Yeah, no wonder. No, that was good. Right, so maybe we'll have a wee chat about a visit next year with the Whisky Club.
That would be great. Absolutely, because you could come and go for lunch somewhere.
What we do normally is the likes of what we're doing with Loch Lomond. We're arriving at 10 o'clock, leaving at 12 o'clock, going to Ducks Bay.
Nice.
And we will pre-book the lunches, and we'll tell them how many macaronis, fish and chips, steak and eel pies, so the chefs know, the restaurant knows. So when we arrive at 12:30, we don't have to order the food.
Yeah, it's all there.
It's all there, and that's what we do with the trip. So if we went to Glasgow, we'd say to you, give us a couple of recommendations somewhere close by. We would then contact the restaurants or whatever, and just say, right, there's going to be 20 of us, 30 of us, 40 of us. This is how we do it. You tell us, I want a 2-course lunch. Tell us what the options are. We'll tell you what we want. We'll pay for it before we come.
Yeah.
We sit down, it arrives, we go. They love it because the chefs love it because they know exactly what
they're doing. Yeah.
12:30, there's going to be 30 people. This is what they want. It's great.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah, because we like to work with people in restaurants. So
the Piper Whiskey Bar, it's only about a 15-minute drive away from us. I mean, I'd say we're kind of on the outskirts, so you'd need to kind of go in the city centre to get anywhere decent. And the Piper, they've got a whiskey lounge up the stairs. They serve great food, so yeah, there's plenty of options.
No, that's right, because obviously obviously come up by bus.
Yes,
so you tell us the maximum amount of people we need to the bus, and to go to Loch Lomond, we've got too many seaters. We see to get too many buses and to get one big one. So we've got 2 16-seater minibuses for 27 people.
Loch Lomond will be great. I went last year. It was great fun. I was born just next door in Vale of Leaven Hospital.
But yeah,
Yeah,
ah,
it's my local.
I mean, it's not exactly like you'd imagine a distillery to be.
Yeah, no, 100%. Very industrial, you know, a bit like ourselves.
It's like a small ICI factory, just
As I
coming
walked
around.
in, I felt a little bit like I was in a submarine. You know, it's
Yeah,
quite it's crazy, really cool. That'll be fun for you. But yeah, as I say, the cooperage in Loch Lomond Distillery is maybe a bit more fancy than ours as well.
But there's no shug at Loch Lomond.
It's the shock.
Oh, God's sake, that's a point.
So yeah, everyone let us know what your favourite dram was. There's a couple of people saying
Yeah,
favourites.
I do.
Number 6 is the favourite, cognac lightly peated, nice. Oh, number 7, 4 for interest. Yeah. I think the peat is always the stuff that wins. You know, even to be fair, this time last year, triple distilled was the winner. Loads of people were going for the triple, and I think it was maybe a time where whiskey drinkers were enjoying that simple dram. You know, there's a time and a place for your big peat sherry bombs, but yeah, the past couple months it's been peated and more peated has been the favourites for sure.
No, that was grand. I mean, such a diversification of whiskies. But that's what it's all about, isn't it?
And as I say, just from a small wee distillery, it's pretty cool.
And I suppose because you're so hands-on, you can just tweak anything you want to. Yeah, let's do this and let's do that.
Being independent as well, you know, we have no one telling us what we can and can't do with our whiskey. And as I say, we're whiskey geeks, just trying out what we can, having a bit of fun with it, which is really nice. It's nice that all the team can kind of get involved as well with bringing the tasting notes together and things like that. It's it's the benefit of having a small team. There's only about 16 of us, so you get stuck in where you can.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, thank you very much for your time.
No worries.
There's been some really good comments, and Karen saying we've got loads of likes. This is probably the best whiskey tasting we've had with the amount of likes that we've got.
Very good. Glad to hear it.
So I think we're going to call you Libby Like in a minute.
Libby.
LL.
Yeah.
Libby Like.
I like it. I like it.
Libby. Well, thank you very much. As I said before, after the tasting, we do a wee raffle.
Yeah.
So we'll take you off screen at the moment, but thank you for your time. And if you wish,
thanks for having me.
If you wish, maybe in 5 or 10 minutes' time, we'll come back and have an official chat.
Yeah.
Afterwards, once we've done the raffle. So at the moment, on behalf of the Whisky Club, thank you, Libby, for your time. Thank you for coming down to do the barrel tasting, and we look forward to seeing you in person.
In a week's time.
In a week's time. God, you're becoming a local health bloody. Right, anyway, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Cheers. Well, we'll just very quickly do the raffle, folks. So I hope you've enjoyed this evening. And we'll just go and Karen's going to come next to me here and we'll just do the raffle. Okay, Mrs. Gibson? Fire away, hen. Fire away.
491.
Right. First one out. 491. Green. There's a couple of other different coloured ones here, by the way, just in case.
Green.
Right.
423.
423. Green again.
White.
White.
996.
996. Oh no, you know, because they're not showing up on the screen, by the way, because this is no my house. You think I've moved? I haven't. No, they just put something on the background so the tickets aren't showing up. It is
Green 430.
430 green. And the last one, ladies and gentlemen, for this evening. Green again.
443.
443. Thank you very much, Mrs. Gibson, for your assistance in the raffle and your assistance in helping us this evening. I hope everybody's had a good time. That was an excellent tasting this evening, something that we haven't seen before. With a cooperage, that's great. So we might see ourselves going to Glasgow next year on a trip. But we look forward to seeing everybody for the Glencadam Tom and Tool one in October. I think it's the 3rd and the 10th. Then the rum tasting, again, it's something a bit different. I know we don't have a rum club as such, so everything will be going through the wine club that we have and the whiskey club that we have to tell everybody about it, and obviously pass the information on to everyone, because that'll be good fun. And next year, we haven't got any whiskey tastings next year booked so far, but they will soon be booked. And again, wine festival, yes, we're excited about that. Something different at the Cairndale, and so watch this space. So, on behalf of Karen and I and all our staff, the team, TB Watsons, thank you for joining us this evening. I hope you've had a great time. And you will see we've got a lot of construction going on at the moment, a lot of scaffolding going on. That's going to go on for 2 or 3 months. Don't walk past us. Come in and see us. We're still there. It's safe and sound. Come in and see us, because we're still there. So, everybody, have a good weekend. Thank you for support.